Hello, thank you guys so much for serving on this Sunday, November 20th, 2023. Before I go through our plans for today, I want to just give you guys a quick walkthrough of the room because I realize that I haven't been able to walk everyone through where everything is. So just a very quick walkthrough. If you're in the K-2 room, this gray cart is kind of your main hub for stuff for the kids. If you're upstairs in the 3rd through 5th, we're currently using the green and white cart for these same items. Up top, you're going to find your gospel story Bible. You will find materials for the craft. You'll find things like your Sharpie to do the memory verse, pencils, scissors, your purple book from when we do prayer requests, and you will find lots of copies of the ESV Bibles down below. Also, here's our memory verse. It already has the pieces in there for this week's edition on week 4. So not this week, but the following week, Memory Verse Sunday week, we'll be adding in where it's located in the Bible. So if you look over here, this is new this month. I borrowed some of these cards so that next to the memory verse are these cards so that you can easily see it, so that if you don't have access to your lesson plan next to you, it is right there. So you know what the missing words are and you can go over the entire thing with the kids, including where it's located in the Bible. And one more thing, so the check-in, check-out sheets are here, the sticker ball, Bible prizes. When we do Bible prizes, we need to be doing them on the carpet in the worship area so that there's not a big grouping of kids at the door trying to get Bible prizes while their parents are ready to pick them up. The goal is to try and have them have those prizes in hand by the time their parents are here. So maybe one adult being on the carpet with them, taking care of that while other kids are being checked out. And then finally, over here, kids do not have access to these. This is just for adults only, especially this side right here on the right-hand side is extra materials that teachers might need. There is a ream of copy paper, Ziploc bags, cleaning supplies, Sharpies, pencils, markers, staplers, all the things you could possibly need and more even behind the closed portion down below. So if you need something as a teacher, you can open those doors and look to see if it's in there. If you don't see it, feel free to reach out to me. But that's just kind of a quick walkthrough of where everything is. So if you have a question about it when you're teaching, hopefully that answers your question. One last thing before I forget. If you are teaching 3rd through 5th, in the lesson plan, you're going to see something about the 3rd through 5th grade bag. It is this bright yellow bag. It is on this door, the one that is right behind, sorry, I'm going to make you dizzy, this worship area. So at the back of the worship area, right where that partition is, this is the door that the 3rd through 5th graders will enter and exit the room through as they go upstairs and when they return at the end of the lesson. So this is the bag. Inside this bag is everything that you would need. There's attendance, there's basic information for teachers that they would need to know. And so I'll walk you through how to use this bag as I go over the lesson. But if you're looking for the bag, this is it. Bright yellow bag on that door handle. All right, so on to this week's lesson. We start out as we normally do, where before service, arriving around 9:30, meeting in the check-in room to check yourself in and to pray together as a children's ministry team, and then coming to the room, laying out center activity choices, and getting the music started. The Bluetooth speaker is on the white cabinet. You can turn that on and hook it up to your phone. At 9:45, 9:50 is when kids will begin arriving. What I recommend doing during this time is one adult should be taking attendance as the kids enter the room using that white binder by that front door. Somebody else should be getting the TV on and ready for the YouTube music video. We're going to do Good, Good Father. This week, I'm trying to repeat songs until we become familiar with them. Next week, we're going to start doing our children's choir song. So we're going to do Good, Good Father this week at 10:10. Oh, and then the other two teachers kind of walking around the room, working with kids, answering any questions, helping redirect them, and just spending time with them. So at 10:10, if that is a time to clean up centers and put them away, I recommend calling kids over by grade level to the carpet. So calling your youngest kids first so they can get the front seats so they can see the video better, and your oldest kids last, so K through 5, and doing Good, Good Father together one time. At that point, you're going to split. So If you are in K through 2, you will either come to the carpet or tables, depending on what you as teachers prefer. 3rd through 5th will line up at that middle door where that yellow bag was located and start to make their way upstairs. I'm going to walk you through some of the more details about how to get upstairs safely and what those rules are at the end of the video. So if you're K through 2 this week, you won't have to listen to that. Both groups, when they're in their spaces, we'll be doing our monthly memory verse, which is Ephesians 3:20 through 21. This week, they'll be doing "To him be glory in the church and in Christ Jesus throughout all generations, forever and ever. Amen." And then week 4, they'll be adding on the Ephesians 3:20 through 21. So next week, they'll be doing that. Now, what is new following the memory verse is that we will be doing praises and showing thankfulness. They were introduced to the idea of tacos format for praying, where it's coming with the different pieces of the prayer. And one piece of that was giving praise and thankfulness. And so we decided in November to kind of focus in on that, something we should always be doing, but really leaning into that in November. So if you're in K through 2, you have a thankfulness pumpkin. And we're just adding things. The goal is to try and fill up that entire section. And then if you run out of room, move on to the next one. So we have our 2021, it's a little spare, but we're going to finish up the 2022 section and move on if we need to. So we're just going to keep using this every year until hopefully we have a very full pumpkin that we can keep out and display for kids to look back on. So if you're in K through 2, you're going to do that. If you are in 3rd through 5th, you have paper chain links. And so the kids will talk about praises, write them down on those paper chain links, staple them into new links onto the chain they already have, and keep that hanging from the hook to their bathroom door. We're going to be using those chain links again in December. So just make sure they stay on that bathroom door hook. So then both groups will be moving in after that. Oh, and also, of course, ending with the Lord's Prayer. After that, we have our Bible story. This week it is Believe and Confess on pages 276 and 277 in the Gospel Story Bible, which I will show you now. So here is the story. This is focused on Romans 9 and 10. And so it talks about Paul's first letter to the Romans. Paul's letter to the Romans, not his first one, the only one in the Bible. So anyway, but yeah, here's the story, Paul's letter to the Romans. And then after you read that story together, you're going to look at where it's located in the Bible. I shortened it rather than reading 2 entire chapters. I shortened it to Romans 10, 9 through 13. So if you're in K through 2, have them work in partners to locate where that is at in their Bible. And then the teacher will read it out loud to them while they follow along. If you're in 3rd through 5th, again, looking it up together with partners, but then reading it together before the teacher then reads it to them, because most of them should be able to read it up there. Then we have a few follow-up questions after that, so you can dig in deep to these. I'm not sure if I've said this in a video, but with the crafts, typically they are something that we could skip if needed. I want you to know that you have the freedom to make choices as teachers. If you are doing these questions with the kids and it is getting really deep and it's a really, really great discussion, lean into that and skip the craft. It's no big deal. Now, this month, I guess, the Advent season is a little different because our crafts are building up on each other each week. We're doing one craft throughout all of Advent, and so each piece builds on to the prior week. So we do need to get the crafts done this month, but in future weeks, when you are doing the Bible story, doing the questions, having discussion with one another, please feel free to take your time and do that. You can cut things where things need to be cut. I don't want you to feel a time crunch and to feel rushed. It's better to do less things with better quality than to try and squeeze everything in there. I typically plan probably a little bit too much just in case if sermon runs long. But just know that you have that freedom as a teacher. So given that, this month's craft is slightly different. This week is a little bit heavier for time. Both groups are doing the same one this week because we are going to be making an Advent ornament. The big focus this year in Advent is the different themes for each week. So the first week's theme is hope. Week 2 is peace. Week 3 is joy. Week 4 is love. And what we need to do is we need to prep our ornament for those themes. So in both groups, you will have little paint cups in those little condiment cups. Each kid will get a paintbrush, a condiment cup with paint, a paper plate, and a black Sharpie that they will share with the person sitting next to them. The very first thing they need to do is to write their name on their plate, because that's going to hold their ornament to dry. It's going to hopefully contain the paint so it won't get all over them and the table. So they're going to write their name on their plate, and then they're going to get their ornament, which will look like this towards the end. And on the back of the ornament, they need to write their name and Advent 2022 with a black Sharpie. So, and then today, all they're going to do is they're just going to paint. They're not going to write any of these words. This is kind of a fast forward as to what it will look after the 4th week. They're just going to paint. So I don't want them to paint the sides or the back. They're just painting that circle in the front. They need to try to not get it on that spot in the middle, because they will have a picture of themselves in the middle for their families. So this week, they're just painting. I recommend very thin coats. So paint a thin coat. Just kind of sit there and visit with a friend and let it dry for a few minutes. Paint another thin coat. I think I did 3 coats on this. It's okay if theirs is more sheer than mine, but just tell them not to glop the paint on. That will take forever to dry, and they don't want that to happen. So that's all they're doing this week, is they're going to be painting these ornaments and then leaving them on their paper plate somewhere safe in the classroom so they can dry over the course of the next week. And then next week is when we're going to start adding the themes on. So week 1, all we're going to do is add that word onto there for the week 1 theme. But this week they're just painting. That's it. So take their time, visit with one another, enjoy that conversation. And then at that point, if you are upstairs in 3rd through 5th grade, you need to be listening to your phones for a text to come through to let you know that the sermon is ending and it's time to rejoin the classroom. So typically we will have 3 people upstairs, 2 teachers and kind of a backup person who will be the person to take kids up and downstairs if they get checked out early, run and grab things that are needed, that type of stuff. So that 3rd person, I ask that they kind of stay behind the first 2 teachers and just get the room picked up. It doesn't need to be perfect, but just generally picked up. Like make sure the paint cups are all in the garbage. The paint brushes are rinsed out in a cup, those types of things. When the 3rd through 5th graders come back down, they will come in the door that they exited, and they will just come straight to the worship area, and they will just watch worship music videos in the worship area while parents arrive. During dismissal, I recommend that 1 teacher be in the worship music area handing out Bible prizes, and then 2 others be in the dismissal area, and then 1 other just kind of be a floater to kind of help with kids' behaviors. Make sure you highlight kids' names as they leave, collect their stickers on the sticker ball, and I think that's it. So at this point, if you're K through 2, you don't have to continue watching, but if you are 3rd through 5th, I'm going to walk you through some of the important things to know when you go upstairs. All right, my 3rd through 5th grade teachers, inside that yellow bag, the most important thing you're going to have is the attendance sheet. Inside that attendance sheet is a list of all of our kids that are in 3rd through 5th grade. As they exit the classroom, I don't want this attendance taken early because I want it taken for who is actually physically leaving the classroom with you and lining up in the hallway. Hopefully it would be all the kids that come in the morning, but just as kind of a protection for them and for you, let's make sure that we take the attendance as they exit the classroom into the hallway. What we've been doing is 1 person takes attendance while the other teacher stands in the hallway, and just each kid gets their name check marked off as they exit the room. And so then we have an accurate count of how many kids are leaving with you and going upstairs in the case that there is someone needing to leave early, if there was ever an alarm to go off, any of those types of things were protected. Also, this glittery notebook is in there that if you notice anything that you think would be helpful upstairs, if you have any ideas, feel free to write it down for me and I'll see it there. There should be 2 pens in the bag for attendance taking, and then also on the back, sorry, I was covering the sheet because I didn't want names shown on the video. There is most important information for teachers. So starting at the top, when you go upstairs, bring the 3rd through 5th grade classroom bag, the upstairs key that you'll receive from Kristen when you check in, and all teacher cell phones with the volume on. This is the only way that you have to communicate between the teachers that are downstairs and Kristen and myself, and you'll need that for when it's time to come back downstairs, as well as if anybody is leaving early. So make sure that you have your cell phone on you. Take student attendance as they exit the K2 classroom. As you enter the main upstairs door, lock the door behind you. So you just turn it left to unlock it, and then you can immediately turn it right, but just have someone hold the door open. So when that door closes behind the group, it is already locked. If a student needs to leave, they must be accompanied by a K-2 classroom to the K-2 classroom by one teacher. They can never go by themselves. Their parents are not going to come upstairs because that door is locked. So that is why we have 3 adults up there. So one adult can walk them down and then return back to the classroom afterwards. Cell phone volume must be on. A text will come at the end of the sermon. Quickly clean up and return to the K-2 classroom for parent pickup. And again, I think I made a slight change to that now, where the third teacher, the extra person up there, do that cleanup while the other 2 teachers immediately take the kids downstairs, just to make sure that they are back in time for their parents to check them out. But that is the most important stuff in there. Occasionally, like this week, for instance, the lesson plans, I'm going to toss in the bag and carry them upstairs with us. I used a pair of scissors that belong in there. So anything I need to return to the classroom might also be in the back of the bag. But these things, the pens, the notebook, and the attendance with the most important information is the most important stuff in that bag for you. I think that is it. You guys, thank you so much for serving this week. I will be the third person upstairs this week, so I will see you guys this Sunday. And thank you so much for taking the time to build into these kids' lives. I appreciate it. I know they appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you guys. Thank you. Bye.